Okay, hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Two Cents Babe.
I'm Abby and
I'm
this is-
Komal. Today's general thing is going to be about relationships and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
but we want to start with icks.
Okay. You go ahead.
So my biggest ick is people who either breathe or chew too loudly or they eat weird, Like every time I would go on a first date and stuff, that's the thing I would look at and it would immediately ick me out and I would not want to see this person again if they were eating too weirdly.
Okay, imagine you go on a date and this guy orders rice and he starts eating with his hands.
That doesn't ick me out, by the way.
Okay.
It's not the hand thing.
Huh.
It's the way you maybe.
Okay. What if he eats it with his hand but he eats really neatly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That works.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if he's chewing with his mouth open.
If he's like that and he's just ऐसे करके जंगलियों की तरह, that icks me out.
That would
Like I don't mind people who eat with their hands and तरीके से खाओ,
But to be honest, sometimes I find messy eaters cute. If they if it's somebody, there's two types, If you're just really excited about food
Yeah.
and you're just gulping it down,
Yeah.
that I kind of find cute. But
Yeah.
if you're not even necessarily hungry, but
Yeah.
just the way that you eat and you don't even give a shit about the food is gross,
Yeah.
that's a different thing.
It's not even that. When you eat really big juicy burgers and they're messy and they drip everywhere,
Yeah.
I don't mind that because मुझे पसंद है. I like a big messy burger.
Mhm.
It's just when people are grunting and they're making all these sounds and it's going everywhere and it's falling in their lap and whatnot.
God.
And then they're not even trying to clean their face afterwards.
Yeah.
That icks me out.
It really frustrates me when I know somebody has all of the tools, but they can't utilize them, basically.
I get it because then you're thinking, okay, you're a full grown adult and what are you doing? People who don't eat healthy, people who don't take care of their mental health,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel as grown-ups, we're also expected to be have some of our shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel, I don't know, another ick is people who don't like fruits or vegetables.
Acha,
Yeah.
that's an ick for you.
I get weirded out. Nothing really icks me out unless it's personal, you know what I mean? But these tiny things do kind of send a signal to my brain weird, you know what I mean?
Okay, my husband does not like fruit or vegetables at all, and I have to force feed him sometimes. But I get it. It annoys me. It doesn't ick me out about
Yeah.
him. He's more of a meat lover and whatnot. But it really does annoy me as well.
Mm.
Because then if he's not, we both basically eat the same thing, you know. If he's not eating it, I won't be eating it. And if
Yeah.
I'm eating something, he's not going to want to eat it.
Yeah. I think that's one really good thing about being in a relationship is especially if you're me, I was eating disordered.
Yeah.
So but whenever I'm with my partner, I will be so good with my health, with eating at least.
Yeah.
So and I can never cook for myself, but when it's for somebody else, I can cook.
That's an ick for
I
me.
know.
That's an ick for me. I feel like you should be able to cook for yourself. I enjoy cooking,
Yeah.
and I know you do too.
Yeah.
But for me, it's very therapeutic.
It is really
Huh.
therapeutic for me too.
Huh.
But I is that a lack of self-love? Oh my goodness, probably. Yeah.
I don't think so. I feel like you're a giver, and
Yeah.
that's a love language for you. You
Yeah.
like making things for other people.
Also, I feel my issue has always been I don't really understand appetite. You know what I mean? So
I know that.
yeah, मुझे भूख समझ नहीं आती कि मुझे कब भूख लग रही है. मेरा mood off होता रहता है and I'm like, what's wrong today?
Yeah,
And
no.
it's
Every time I've stayed over at yours, or if I've spent days on end with him, I'm getting kind of hungry,
Yeah.
and this, you don't have a proper schedule for eating, and it really it doesn't bother me, but I have to remind you every time.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
time to eat now.
one thing that would help me is having a whiteboard in my place. Just
There's a
filled with
thing called breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You don't need a whiteboard for that.
I don't know. I think there's something, I've never been diagnosed with anything, but I feel there is something a bit detached in there when it comes to a few things. So I feel a whiteboard would really help me.
Really?
Yeah.
If you wrote down timings or specifics about
Yeah,
food?
I feel if I had something to visually be there or not, if I don't do it, then I would probably feel guilty. Otherwise, it just doesn't cross my head. You know what I
What
mean?
if you had an alarm on your phone? For like, oh, it's lunchtime now, it's dinner time now.
I don't know. I don't like. I'm like not pro technology. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if
Yeah.
it's on my phone, I won't take it seriously. If it's
Mhm.
on a wall written down, like I'll be like, okay, I've already put effort into it, so I will do it. You know what I mean?
Okay, maybe do that. Because
Mhm.
you need to eat.
Yeah.
So another ick for me, like you said, health is hygiene.
Hmm.
Like, I don't mind sweat
Yeah.
smell, like we talked about earlier, but especially girls who are completely like overly dressed, hairs done, nails done, makeup done, wearing the most cute outfit, but they smell bad.
Yeah.
It really icks me out.
I know, like same thing for me, but like again, like we talked about that, like I judge girls more for this than I judge men.
Yeah, because men, I guess, are supposed to be dirty and disgusting, so you don't expect them to be clean and whatever, you know, smelling like flowers. But I don't know, I do judge women more
Yeah,
for smelling bad.
I mean, sometimes I ick myself out when I realize like, you know, hypocritical behavior. Like for example, if I say I hate gossip, but then
Yeah.
like something happens and I find out something and I really want to gossip, like it takes me out about myself. You know what I mean?
But listen, we did a whole podcast on this.
Yeah.
It's ethical. We're just relaying information. It's not
Yeah,
gossip.
I feel like the thing is right where like there's a fine line like between
Listen, we talked about this character assassination
yeah.
is the thing.
Like I won't say like oh she's a hoe or he's like XYZ. But I feel like information को ना अगर आप neutral तरीके से relate कर सकते हो it's fine.
हाँ.
But still again ना like I feel like it also depends on what room you're saying it in.
But listen, this is also another thing. Another one of my ick is that people who gossip just for the sake of gossip.
Yeah, like that's
You know?
like or see it as social currency basically.
ये भी है, and you know, like when something happens in your life and they need to tell the whole world
Yeah,
about it,
oh my
like
goodness.
why?
Yeah.
And for us, I feel like we talked about this before, that we're just talking about people and we're relaying information.
Yeah.
It's not like we're like bitching about them too much. Yeah, I think we have way more icks than that, but let's move on.
What are we moving on to? Jealousy between friends. I think it shouldn't exist, first of all. And if your friends are jealous of you, I mean,
Listen, not everyone is your friend.
yeah.
I think this is another one of my ick, by the way. When you're friends with the whole world, you cannot be friends with everybody. That just means you're pleasing everyone, and you can't like everyone, and everyone can't like you. And this is why I don't expect people to like me instantly, because let's be real, I think I'm not a very likable person, you know. Like once you get to know me, sure, I'm lovely, and like, you know, we get along really well. But initially, I do feel like people don't like me, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And not everyone needs to like me, which is why, like, I have a handful of friends, good friends. I mean, I know a lot of people, but they're not. All of those people are not my friends.
Yeah.
So if they're jealous or if they're feeling a certain way about you, it's fine. But within like close knit circles and with your closest people, I don't feel like jealousy should exist. And for me, alhamdulillah, it doesn't.
I think the thing is, right, what is jealousy basically? Jealousy, I think it comes around when you think you can't have that thing. You know what I mean? But actually, जो jealousy होती है ना, this is like envy. What we think is jealousy na is like actually envy. Jealousy comes when it's something that's yours.
Yeah.
And it's been like taken away from you basically.
But isn't that being territorial?
But most things that like spark jealousy aren't really yours to like. I think if they're really yours,
Yeah.
then it could be a conceptual thing as well. Like somebody's rich. You know what I mean? If you think you deserve to be rich as well, and you're going to be rich, it's not going to spark jealousy. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But if you think you're not going to have it, that will like spark envy. It won't spark like jealousy, because jealousy ka jo actual concept है ना, is when like something of yours is being taken away.
तो वही insecurity से आता है. I feel like you're mostly jealous about things that you feel like either you lack or you're insecure about.
Yeah.
I do know a lot of like people around me and us that are like have a lot of these jealous behaviors, but um, बहुत normal है. Like
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people who will sit with you and they'll be all like nice to you to your face, and then they leave and then they bitch about you.
Yeah.
If that's not jealousy, I guess it's envy.
I mean, whatever it is, I feel like the thing is, right? Anyone can be jealous, anyone can be envious, it's okay. But like, the issue is when you choose to put somebody down because of a jealous feeling, or when you try to prop yourself up because of it,
Yeah.
or when you like start creating scenarios where they lose what they have, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, in your head. You're creating it out to be like a much bigger part of your identity than it has to be. It can just be a passing thought, like alongside a prayer for yourself, like inshallah I will have that too. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. You don't need to put other people down for having something that you don't have yet.
Yeah.
And I think that you're
and you
right.
don't have to poke holes in it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And because, like, you're right that we all have, like, these are human emotions to have jealousy, envy, all kinds of things. We all feel these things about certain people. But how you deal with it is what matters.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can choose to be like graceful about it. You can choose to not address everything that comes to your mind, you know. But if you deliberately, if you're putting other people down, then you're a horrible person. It's not the fact that you're jealous, it's just that you're being a bitch.
I think there's a very like fine line between feelings and thoughts that need to be justified, because like you know, I think we live in a world where our brains are kind of overactive. You know, we're constantly stimulated. Though I feel like I may have like a million bad thoughts in a day, but I don't entertain all of them, and I don't like sit and find reasons to make all of them true, because like I can think something that's untrue, I can think something that isn't fair. You know what I mean? But if I get hell bent on proving that thing right, that's where I fuck myself over. If I get hell bent on like trying to justify the things I'm afraid of, like I will be a fearful person. If I get hell bent on justifying the things that make me sad, like I will just be a sad person. So you really have to pick with what you're contending with in your own self.
Yeah, I agree.
What was the next thing?
Friendship breakups versus relationship breakups. What hurts more?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've never had like a friendship where like I really feel like, okay, we're gonna do life together and we're gonna be living together.
Really?
Like
living together का तो नहीं होता.
That's like in my base has all, even since I think it comes from my mom, it comes from like all of my sisters as well, and like just generally like society tells you to settle down. You know what I mean? So even when I was really young, even when I was a kid, like that, like you know when I used to think about like adult self, it was about settle down, home, family. You know what I mean? Like simple life. So like friendships now, it sounds horrible to say, but have always been secondary to me, you know, in like some way, shape, or form. Okay, like because when I'm with a partner now, that like there's a sense of completion there where like I'm not still looking for things, like, and friends are like, you know, I think that's the biggest thing for me, where like a relationship would hurt more than a friendship breakup, is because like I'm literally planning on spending the rest of my life with you. You know what I mean?
But you don't like, for me it's different. For me, friendship breakups have hurt way more because I've had lifelong friendships. I don't do like temporary friendships. If I think you're going to be someone temporary in my life, I will not invest, I will not make an effort with you. It will just be like a second tier, third tier friend. But if I know, even if I've had spats or fights with my like friends, with my girlfriends, with my guy friends, they have like hurt way more. In a way that, not that I was like crying and wailing and like being dramatic about it and sitting at home and moping about it. That you do when you have a breakup with a guy. But in a way that it feels like betrayal. For me, friendships, friends that I've lost, I felt more of a betrayal from them because you trust them. You think that, especially with people you're doing life with, and I do count friends in that, family as well. You trust them so much. You trust them with all of your life's information, all your vulnerabilities, all your weaknesses, and sometimes they use those against you, and sometimes they do stab you in the back, and they sometimes like do betray you, and that hurts more because you don't expect it. With boys it's different for me because I always expected, I always used to, at least I always used to think, okay, and not with every guy that I've dated, I've never thought, okay, I'm going to do life with this guy. Not with every one of them. But they did hurt in the moment, but it was easier to move on from them long term. The friends that I've broken up with, I still have not been able to move on. I still talk about them often. I still talk about them to you with other friends of mine. I still want to know what's going on in their lives. I still wish them well, all of that. So for me, it hurts way more.
I think like one thing, like, I really, it's not, I move on from partners as well if like it doesn't work out, right? Like I think, especially because like, life always gets better.
Yeah.
So like, I don't tend to like romanticize things when like, if things end, they end for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even with friendships, I feel like one thing that like because we used to move around so much when we were little. Like I've been to like 20 schools and like in like 10 different cities. So, and it would always be something really abrupt, you know what I mean? So like I feel like my friendships kind of did, especially after younger years or your formative years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I've never been fazed by a friendship ending, but I think it has a lot to do with the fact that like I have like friends around different corners of the world and I like never speak to them, you know what I mean?
Because you were moving around so much that there was no permanency. There was no like sense of, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
I've lived here all my life. I've liked the people that we know, and I've met so many of my Purana friends because of you, it's crazy. It's the people that I grew up with. Kamar was like my teacher from 14 years ago. And I met him again because of you. And it's insane. But that's what I mean. I've lived here all my life. And especially the girls that they fucked me over. And it's also because I really I do forgive easily. I do forgive people for fucking shit up because when you're in your 20s and when you're a teenager, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what life is about. You don't know where you're headed. You do forgive easily. You do move on. But I don't forget.
Yeah. And you can't forget.
And what trauma mein leke gayi hu. Like the people who, the friends who have hurt me, I've always, wo meri body mein raha hai, I've always expected that from newer friends.
This is one thing that I wholeheartedly believe in, that you never forget.
Yeah.
Like anyone who's been in your life, what is this concept of, oh my god, I need to forget about this?
You
that
can't,
doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's a part of you.
Yeah.
Time
spent is time spent, and whoever you spent it with is whoever you spent it with.
Yeah, it also becomes a part of your identity. I feel betrayals and all these friendship stuff. I think it really does.
It does make you stronger.
It does. I'm happy that with all the friends that I have right now, I do feel like these are lifelong friendships. And even if we move away, we move to different parts of the world, I feel like I will always want to be in touch with them. I will always wish them well. I will always want to know what's going on in their lives. And I want them to know what's going on in mine as well. Yeah. Anyway, what's the next thing? Emotional. Things the internet has made us insecure about. I think the biggest one for me has to be you need to look a certain way. With all this Botox and all these fillers and this certain hair color and this certain body type and fashion trends and all of that, I feel like the internet really, the people expect you to look a certain way. They put you in a box, and if you don't fit that box, then you're nobody,
Also, I feel like one thing for me that's I was thinking about is I feel like there's this expectation to, I don't know, dumb yourself down to basically get for example TikTok. I don't think you can read you can, but there is a notion of the more stripped down and more brand friendly that you are, the more like it will like be good, basically.
I get it. I feel like for me, this means or this sounds like the kind of cringe content that
Yeah.
they put out if you're not doing a certain kind of like cringe strategy.
Trend or like a TikTok dance.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're like, you're not trendy.
Yeah.
And I don't like that either.
Yeah.
But does that make you feel insecure?
It doesn't make me feel insecure, but it does like kind of make me feel. What does it make me feel? Makes me feel like. What does it make? I don't think.
For me, it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like this is a funny conversation I was having with my husband the other day. I was like, okay, so tell me, do you think I'm cute, pretty, sexy, hot? What box do I fit in, you know? And he's like, you are very classic, traditional beauty. And he said that, and instantly my mom popped into my head because my mom always said that to me. And I was like, okay, but that means I don't fit into the box that these people have created, like white skin with blonde hair and fillers and like stretched out skin and
and there's
all of
also
that.
persona that goes along with it. Not like there's talking points that you stick to, and there's like expectation of like, if you're not like giving me something to look at, make me laugh, basically. You know what I mean?
No.
So like, what? No.
मुझे नहीं समझ आई.
Basically saying like algorithmically, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like वही ना, like if I know a lot of people don't follow me because like I don't fit into the like norm of beauty trends and whatnot, and it's fine. And I feel like people really like go out of their way to kind of like appease or please the masses, and it doesn't make me feel insecure as such about myself, but I do like, it bothers me. I do notice it, and I do feel like maybe I should get Botox done, maybe I should do this with my face or my body or whatever. But like, why can't like everyone love everyone?
Yeah. And like, one thing that also like I feel like art has gotten like really degraded with like the internet, basically, you know what I mean? Okay, because there's so much easy access of everything now, with like sacredness नहीं होती, like I love easy access. I love being able to like just pop up a song on my phone and everything, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I feel like it doesn't hold the same amount of value anymore, basically.
Yeah.
And also like I could make something that means so much to me, but there will be a little bit of a tinge of like, oh my god, it's not performing well. You know what I mean?
I do that every time I post something.
Yeah.
I post a picture or a reel or whatever, and I go back and look at all the likes and shares and comments, and I'm like, it's not doing as well as I hoped it would, and it really like fucks with me. Like, why are we looking at numbers? I was telling my husband the other day that I used to dance because I love dancing. Now I dance for numbers. You know how many likes and shares and follows I'll get. Like, why am I thinking like that?
I know.
So I hope like, and this is something that I'm struggling with these days, that I just want to go back to that, like just dancing for the sake of dancing.
Another thing like the internet makes me feel insecure about is like, oh my god, I'm not being crazy now for not having like enough fun. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Oh my god, yes. Like people who are always like constantly partying or vacationing or like just hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And by the way, we never take a picture when we're hanging out.
Yeah.
We also like see our friends, but we don't need to post about it all the time.
Like it sometimes I feel like, oh my god, am I boring? Am I not doing that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But that doesn't make me feel insecure though. That makes me feel good because I wanna. Something should be sacred.
Yeah.
And you cannot post a picture with your friends every time you hang out.
I mean, that's like, I don't know. It doesn't do like much for me, basically. You know what I mean?
What is the point?
I'm too distracted talking to you, basically.
Exactly. We barely look at our phones when we're sitting together. And if you're sitting with your friends and you're constantly using your phones and taking pictures and all of that, and then what is the point of like socializing?
I know.
You're not then. So yeah, the internet is not a great place to be these days. I hope like, I don't want to say it.
What do you want to say?
I'm really old school. It was so much better when we were like growing up. People actually used to like need to like talk and do like activities together, and now it's just become this pop culture, like internet frenzy craze thing that.
Like I feel like also now like just imagine the fact that like texting is here now. So
Mm.
like I don't even think people like understand the value of words
Mm.
because like you can say anything to anybody across any room basically. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But like I see this within myself. I'm a person who values like every single word that I say. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think about the impact of it. But I think most people don't function like that.
They
actually.
don't.
You know what I mean?
They
They
really.
will say one thing and 5 minutes later be like, but that's not what I said. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but that is what you said.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's too much.
But I think that was enough, right?
Falling in love slowly.
Falling in love slowly. Oh.
We're a
Yeah,
little
we're
busy
doing it.
today.
Yeah. Falling in love slowly or instantly? I mean, you start.
Okay, so for me, growing up, I used to fall in love instantly with people, and it icks me out just to think about it now. Any person who would talk to me nicely or like spend a few weeks with me, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so in love with him, you know,
Yeah.
like this is it. But as you grow older, you realize, okay, no, like I feel like once you start weighing the pros and cons about every person like you see or meet, and I'm not just talking about relationships, friends as well. You really take things slowly then. You slow down and it really humbles you as well, especially if you've been through enough heartbreaks.
Yeah.
It really does humble you to a point where you appreciate the sort of slow paced out relationships
Yeah.
more.
I feel like, I think you can understand liking and like even love for somebody even the first day that you meet them. But I think you need to keep a gauge on this, like if you have fallen in love with somebody instantly, are you falling more in love with them every day?
Yeah.
Because that's how it should
It needs
be.
to go up.
It cannot be like boom, because
Yeah.
that's probably serotonin,
Yeah.
and then like doo,
Yeah.
like, and that doesn't. As a relationship goes on, you probably do have more things to tackle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Practicality comes in, so it's not like, oh my god, am I still having the most fun?
Yeah.
But can I like engage with this person with kindness? Can I value this person? Can I respect loyalty within this person? Basically, you know what I mean. So if that's happening, then good. But if you feel like you're falling more out of love every day, that's a red flag.
But that happens with time, right? Like there's a lot of people who will sort of. I've had this a lot, and there's something you said that really stuck by me. Like initially when you start dating someone new, and then like a week in or a few days in, they tell you that they love you,
Yeah.
right? And I used to be like, oh my god, that's such a red flag. Why? How are you already in love with me? You don't know me fully.
Yeah.
But then you said something to me like a few years ago, I think. You said, but like, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're a lovable person and they do fall in love with you instantly, that means that, there's something good about you, or like they're attracted to you genuinely. But it still icks me out though. People who fall in love instantly, for me, it's either you're love bombing your partner, or you're very needy or desperate. And I'm not saying there are cases where people do genuinely fall in love
Yeah.
instantly.
Yeah.
But it can't happen like with everybody.
Yeah, it can
Or
happen with
every
everybody.
time.
But I feel like now the ick is really defined by what is behind it, basically. You know what I mean? If like, for example, because I've been on dates where like we just had food and like we barely talked about anything because you've just been telling me how pretty I am. And then, oh my god, I love you. Like, I feel like honored to be in your presence. That is a different thing. But like, like with my partner, like we spent the whole night basically talking about like our childhood or like what we want for the future, blah blah blah, and like we shared so much, and like we said I love you quite quickly. You know what I mean? We jumped into things quite quickly, but at the end of the day, it didn't feel like flimsy to me because I felt like, okay, this person at least knows a good base about me. This person has asked me what I want for my life, and they've told me what they want for their life. You know what I mean? So, like, I think it really depends on action. Like, if you're falling in love instantly, fine, but what are you gonna do about it, basically?
It really does need to go up. You cannot fall in love instantly and then it just keeps declining.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It
this
needs
is
to go up.
something my husband said to me. He was in love with me 3 dates in,
Yeah.
and I had already like dumped his ass.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like you enough, and then we met up like a month later, and then we started dating again. But I didn't believe him, and he really assured me. He really like kept showing up. He kept like doing things more and more, and he kept. It was not just his words, it was his actions, it was everything else that he did for me. No other man, there is no other man on this planet that has even come close for me. And that made me realize, okay, people do fall in love instantly, and sometimes it's true, mostly it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can happen.
It can happen.
It doesn't happen for me, or it hasn't. I mean, initially it did, but then it stopped. But like, if you think that, like you said, you've had enough conversations, you've talked about enough things, falling in love instantly is alright, but it can't be just, okay, you met twice and you've only like spoken about surface level things and you say you're in love, then you're not in love.
Yeah, 100.
Yeah.
Because like even the thing for me, right? I was just thinking about it. Wait, what was I thinking about? That like initially, right? Because things happened so like quickly with me. I was like, there was a period where I was like, okay, like yes, I like this, I'm in love and everything, but is it really real? You know, because like I felt like I'm so heavily engaged into this right now that like, is it gonna like blow over? But then it didn't. You know what I mean? The voyotake action really solidifies things.
Yeah.
Because for a really long time I wasn't sure, but then when the uncertainty went away and once I got secure, I realized like, okay, yes, I may have loved this person on that first day, but like I'm so much more in love with them today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing, it needs to go up.
Yeah.
It cannot be like going down. The chart needs to always go up.
Yeah. We've been so emotional today.
Yeah. I thought this would be like a funny one. Like we're talking about boys and icks, and this is really
we're
heavy.
Nice and we're sweet and we're angels. You should be more like that too.
Okay, we will see you again soon. And bye. 34 minutes, not bad.